the kingdom that erased every child's name, the mourning of blank pages in the Kingdom of Valmora. Record-keeping was a sacred duty. Every birth was inked into the ledger of names within a day of its happening. The child's name, the hour of birth, the names of the parents, the color of the child's eyes. The ledger lived in the Hall of Continuance, a vast stone archive at the heart of the capital, guarded day and night by the keepers, an order of scribes who had tended the books for 300 years. Then, on a morning in late autumn, the keepers arrived to find every page concerning every child in the kingdom gone blank. Not torn, not burned, simply blank, as though the ink had never touched the parchment at all. At first, people assumed a fire, a flood, an act of sabotage. But the horror ran deeper. It was not only the ledger. Every baptismal record in every chapel, every nursery roll in every village hall, every carved name on the small stone markers parents used to note a child's height each year. All of it, everywhere in Valmora, erased in a single night. Worse still, the children themselves seemed unaware anything had changed. They woke, ate breakfast, went to their lessons. But something in the way adults looked at them had shifted. A strange, cold uncertainty had crept into every guardian's chest. A doubt they could not name. Was this truly my daughter? Had I always had 2 sons or 3? The children had not vanished. Their proof had. The Chancellor's decree, Chancellor Ilsevar Rook, who governed Valmora in the young queen's stead, called an emergency council before the sun had fully risen. If a thing cannot be proven, he said, pacing before the empty hearth, then a thing can be disputed. And what can be disputed in time can be denied. The council did not yet grasp what he meant, but within a week they would. Rook did not announce the missing records to the wider kingdom. Instead, he issued a quiet directive to the regional lords: any child without documentation was to be registered anew, but only after a formal inquiry of origin, a lengthy process requiring 3 witnesses, a magistrate's seal, and a fee few common families could afford. It was, on its face, mere bureaucracy. But bureaucracy wielded with intent is its own kind of weapon. Poor families, unable to pay the fee or produce 3 witnesses willing to travel to a magistrate's court, found their children left in a strange legal limbo, alive, present, beloved, yet officially unconfirmed. And an unconfirmed child, Rook's clerks began to whisper, was not entitled to schooling nor inheritance, nor even a burial plot should the worst occur. Mira of the Willow Quarter. In the Willow Quarter, a weaver named Sable Ansett had a daughter named Mira, 8 years old, quick with numbers, quicker with her tongue. When the inquiry of origin reached the Willow Quarter, Sable went from door to door searching for witnesses who could swear they'd seen Mira born. She found the midwife who had delivered her, but the midwife had died the winter before, and dead witnesses did not count. She found a neighbor who remembered the birth clearly, but the neighbor's own son was unconfirmed. As well, and unconfirmed citizens could not serve as legal witnesses. It was a closed loop, a door that locked itself from both sides. Sable began to understand faster than the council did what the erasure was truly for. It was not chaos. It was a filter, a way to quietly decide family by family which children would count and which would not. They didn't erase her name to hurt her, Sable told her husband one night. They erased it so that later, when it's convenient, they can say she never had one. The keeper who remembered not everyone in the Hall of Continuance accepted Rook's account of a mysterious accident. An elderly keeper named Orson Thale, who had tended the ledger for 40 years, began his own quiet investigation. He found no scorch marks, no water damage, nothing to suggest a natural cause. But he did find, tucked behind a false panel in the archive's lowest floor, a second set of ledgers, hidden copies, meticulously updated, containing every name that had gone missing from the public record. Rook had not destroyed the names, he had moved them. Orson realized the erasure had never been about the children at all. It was about control, about ensuring that only the Chancellor's office held the single, unquestionable record of who belonged to the kingdom and who did not. A population that could not prove its own children existed was a population that could be reshaped at will, conscripted, relocated, taxed, or simply written out of the future. One inquiry of origin at a time. Orson began copying the hidden ledger in secret, page by page, hiding the copies among the shipping manifests that left the capital each week, manifests no clerk ever thought to check closely. The Willow Quarter rises, word spread slowly, the way truth does when it must travel through whispers instead of proclamations. Sable Ansett was not the only mother turned away from a magistrate's court. Within a season, hundreds of families across Valmora had faced the same locked door, and hundreds of families began comparing notes, trading rumors, and eventually meeting in secret. They called themselves the Rememberers. They kept their own informal registries, handwritten, witnessed among themselves, hidden in false floorboards and family Bibles, a shadow record to stand against the official one. It was not legal, it carried no seal, but it was theirs, and no chancellor's decree could erase what was written in 100 scattered homes at once. When Orson Thales' smuggled ledger pages finally reached the rememberers, the two records, one hidden by a frightened old keeper, one built quietly by frightened parents, were laid side by side for the first time. They matched, name for name, child for child. The reckoning, the matched ledgers became the evidence the council could no longer ignore. Faced with proof that the accident had been engineered, and that the chancellor had maintained a private record all along, Rook's own council turned against him. He was stripped of his authority within a fortnight, and the young queen, who had been kept from the affairs of court far longer than she should have been, took up the matter herself. Her first decree was simple: every child's name, as recorded by the rememberers, would be restored to the public ledger immediately with no inquiry required. Her second decree established a new rule. Carved above the doors of the Hall of Continuance itself, a name is not owned by the hand that writes it. A record may be lost, but a child is never unproven by paper alone. Mira Ansett grew up to become a keeper herself, one of the youngest in the Hall's history. She kept on her own desk a small blank page. A reminder, she said, of the year her name had not existed anywhere but in her mother's memory. She never let it be filled in. It sat there blank on purpose, so that no one who saw it would forget how easily a name could be taken, and how hard so many people had worked to give it back.